In the thrilling conclusion of the first season, Clara, Gabriel, and Elise face the most challenging battle yet against Viktor and his shadow followers. In the midst of the confrontation, Clara discovers the true power of the medallion and the deep connection she has with the Triangle of Harmonia. With courage and sacrifices, the trio manages to repel Viktor, but not without consequences. With the map for the next artifact revealed, the group understands that the journey is far from over. As the heroes prepare to head for the French Alps, Viktor plans his next move, determined to get the triangle before them. Tensions are rising, and the future is more uncertain than ever. Clara and Gabriel, after the intense events of the cave, follow the instructions newly revealed by the locket. The luminous inscription that appeared at the end of the previous episode leads them to Paris, to the heart of France, to a place steeped in history, Notre-Dame Cathedral. The journey is exhausting, and the tension between them grows as the pieces of the puzzle seem to line up with greater clarity. However, both know that what awaits them in the capital may be the biggest challenge they have ever faced. As they travel, Clara gets lost in thought, reflecting on how her life has changed since the fateful accident that brought them together. She wonders if the locket is really a blessing or a curse. Gabriel, on the other hand, is focused and determined to protect Clara and ensure that the mission is completed, even if it means sacrificing everything. When they arrive in Paris, the city seems shrouded in a dense atmosphere, as if something awaits them. They head directly to the cathedral, but are interrupted by a mysterious figure who seems to be waiting for them. She is a woman of imposing appearance, dressed elegantly, but with eyes that emanate a disturbing coldness. She introduces herself as Elise, a guardian of an ancient order linked to the locket. Elise reveals that the locket that Clara and Gabriel possess is just one of 3 artifacts that control the balance between light and dark. Clara is suspicious, but Gabriel insists on listening to what Elise has to say. The Guardian explains that in order to activate the true power of the medallion, they need to find the other 2 artifacts, which are in equally protected locations. However, there is a problem. Dark forces are already aware of Clara and Gabriel's presence in Paris and will do anything to stop them from advancing. As they talk, a sense of imminent danger takes over the room. Elise stops suddenly, her eyes fixating on something beyond the protagonists. "They're here," she whispers, before the silence is broken by a thunderous sound coming from outside. Clara, Gabriel, and Elise rush to the entrance of the cathedral, only to see the square taken over by hooded figures, each of them holding strange weapons that glow with a dark light. Elise turns to Clara and Gabriel. "The choice is yours. Face danger now, or retreat and lose everything." Clara and Gabriel look at each other, the weight of the decision evident on their faces. Gabriel, without hesitation, holds Clara's hand and pulls her towards the cathedral. "If we have come this far, we cannot give up now," he declares. Did you like the rising tension and mystery of this episode? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comment on what you think will happen next. Every interaction you have helps us bring even more exciting stories to you. Now get ready, because the next chapter of this episode promises to take your breath away. Inside Notre-Dame Cathedral, tension is in the air. Clara, Gabriel, and Elise move quickly through the grandiose corridors, seeking refuge and a plan to deal with the enemies that gather outside. The shadows cast by the colored stained glass windows create an almost mystical atmosphere, intensifying the feeling that something greater is at stake. The sound of footsteps echoes across the stone floor as Elise firmly leads the 2 to a secret room hidden behind the main altar. Upon entering the hidden space, Clara and Gabriel come across something impressive. The place is an ancient sanctuary, with walls covered with maps, symbols, and writings in unknown languages. In the center of the room, a stone table displays a detailed diagram of the 3 artifacts mentioned by Elise, with the medallion in the center. Elise begins to explain urgently. The other two artifacts are a ring and a crown, each imbued with a unique energy. Together they form the triangle of harmonia, which controls the balance between light and dark. The locket you carry is the key to finding the other two, but it is also the main target of those who want to use it for dark purposes. As Elise speaks, Clara watches the diagram intently, her hands shaking slightly as she realizes the magnitude of the situation. Gabriel, ever protective, places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We're in this together," he says, looking him straight in the eye. "No matter what." The moment of calm is interrupted when the sound of explosions reverberates through the cathedral. Elise runs to a narrow window and watches the hooded figures begin to invade the building. "They are the shadow followers," she explains, "an order that swore to use the artifacts to plunge the world into eternal darkness." With no time to waste, Elise hands Clara and Gabriel small vials containing a glowing liquid. These are protective elixirs. They won't make you invincible, but they can give you an advantage in critical situations. Gabriel holds the vial firmly, while Clara hesitates before putting it in her pocket. The shadow followers finally reach the shrine. Elise, with astonishing skill, takes on the first invaders, using an ornate blade that looked more like a relic than a weapon. Clara and Gabriel, although hesitant, find the courage to fight. Gabriel takes a heavy candle from the altar and uses it as an improvised weapon, while Clara tries to decipher the symbols in the diagram, looking for some clue that can help them. In the heat of battle, one of the hooded men directly attacks Clara, but Gabriel manages to intercept him in time. "Stay behind me!" he shouts as he blocks another blow with his makeshift weapon. Elise, meanwhile, faces three enemies at once, her movements precise and calculated, as if she had trained for this moment all her life. Suddenly, one of the shadow followers utters an incantation, and the room begins to shake. A crack forms in the ground, dividing the group and creating a barrier between Clara and the others. Clara, now isolated, realizes that she is facing a pedestal that emits a golden light. On the pedestal, there is an inscription that seems to react to the presence of the medallion. Clara screams at Elise and Gabriel, but the sound is drowned out by the chaos. Gabriel tries to reach her, but the crack in the ground grows, making it impossible to cross her. "Clara, you need to do it yourself," Elise screams, her voice charged with urgency. "Trust the medallion." With her heart racing, Clara holds the locket in her hands and places it on the pedestal. The golden light intensifies, filling the room with an almost blinding glow. The shadow followers retreat, shielding their eyes, while Elise and Gabriel look on in amazement. When the light decreases, the floor closes again, uniting Clara, Gabriel, and Elise. However, the medallion is now different, with additional symbols that were not there before. Elise examines the object quickly and smiles for the first time. "You have activated the next stage. Now we know where to find the ring." But the victory is brief. The shadow followers regroup, and their leader, an imposing figure in a silver mask, enters the room. "You may have advanced a step, but the game is far from over," he says in a deep, menacing voice. Clara and Gabriel exchange a look of determination. Elise, raising her blade, positions herself between them and the leader. "This is just the beginning," she whispers to Clara. "Prepare for what's to come." The leader of the shadow followers slowly advances towards the group, his presence dominating the space like an impending storm. He removes his silver mask, revealing a face marked by deep scars and eyes as cold as steel. "My name is Viktor," he says, his voice echoing through the shrine, "and you're playing with forces you don't understand." Clara, Gabriel, and Elise remain motionless, assessing the threat. Viktor raises a hand, and with a simple gesture, the blades of his followers begin to glow with dark energy. "You think you can use the triangle of harmonia to save the world?" he continues, his voice charged with contempt. But what you don't understand is that this world doesn't deserve to be saved. It needs to be remade, purified by the power that you are trying to stop. Elise takes a step forward, positioning herself between Viktor and Clara. You're just another tyrant, seeking to justify your actions with twisted ideals, she counters. We will not allow you to take control of the artifacts. Viktor smiles menacingly. Allow? You have no idea what you're up against. He raises his hands and, with a powerful movement, summons a wave of energy that hurls Elise backwards, knocking her against one of the shrine's walls. Clara rushes to her aid, but Gabriel is already in action, charging towards Viktor with fierce determination. The struggle that follows is intense and brutal. Gabriel uses every shred of his strength and creativity to take on Viktor, but the leader of the shadow followers seems to always be one step ahead, dodging attacks with almost otherworldly ease. Clara, watching the battle, feels the weight of responsibility fall on her shoulders. She knows that the medallion is the key to changing the course of this fight, but she doesn't fully understand how to use it. Elise, despite the impact of the blow, recovers and joins the battle, her blade dancing through the air as she engages the followers surrounding Viktor. The shrine turns into a chaotic battlefield, with sparks of energy and screams echoing through the stone walls. In the midst of the confusion, Clara notices something strange in the locket. The new symbols that appeared after activation begin to glow again, as if reacting to Viktor's presence. Remembering Elise's words about trusting the locket, Clara holds the object firmly and closes her eyes, focusing on its energy. Suddenly, she is enveloped by a vision. She finds herself in a vast field, surrounded by light and darkness in constant battle. In the center, the three artifacts float, connected by strands of golden energy. A soft voice, almost like a whisper, speaks directly to your mind. You have the power to balance forces, but you must be willing to sacrifice to achieve harmony. The vision disappears, and Clara opens her eyes to find Viktor about to attack Gabriel. Without thinking, she lifts the locket and screams, channeling all her determination. A wave of golden light emanates from the locket, hitting Viktor and his followers. They retreat, protecting themselves from the energy, and Viktor falls to his knees, visibly weakened. Elise takes the opportunity to disarm the remaining followers, while Gabriel rushes to Clara's side. "You did it," he says, the admiration evident in his voice. Clara, still holding the locket, feels exhausted but determined. "I'm not done yet," she replies. Viktor slowly stands up, his eyes filled with anger and surprise. "This is just the beginning," he growls. "You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over." Before anyone can react, Viktor casts a spell that creates an explosion of shadows, filling the shrine with darkness. When the light finally returns, he and his followers disappeared, leaving Clara, Gabriel, and Elise alone in the silence. Elise, still holding her blade, looks at Clara and Gabriel seriously. "Now we know what we are facing, but that's just the first step. The next artifact awaits us, and we need to be ready." Clara holds the locket tightly, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also a new inner strength. Gabriel puts his hand on her shoulder, offering silent support. They know that the road ahead will be even more difficult, but they also know that they are not alone. The shrine, now silent, seems to breathe with the residual energy of the battle. Clara, Gabriel, and Elise gather in the center of the room, surrounded by debris and the marks of their fight against Viktor. The locket, still shining faintly in Clara's hand, seems to pulse in sync with her heart. Each beat echoes as a reminder of the power they carry and the responsibility it entails. Elise takes the floor, her tone serious but firm. "Now we understand what we're up against," she begins, glancing at Gabriel and Clara. "The shadow followers are not just a group of fanatics. They have resources, knowledge, and most importantly, a leader who knows the Harmonia Triangle as well as we do. Maybe even more." Clara, still feeling the effects of the confrontation, looks up at Elise. "If Viktor knows the triangle so well, he knows where the other artifacts are," she says, and that means we're in a race against time to find them before he does. Gabriel, who until then had remained silent, takes a step forward. "We have something that Viktor doesn't have," he says, his voice full of determination. "You, Clara, you are the key. The locket answered you, not him. That means that in some way you are an essential part of that balance." Clara feels the weight of Gabriel's words, but at the same time a spark of hope grows in her heart. "If I'm the key, then we need to figure out how to use that power before it's too late," she declares. "We can't afford to make more mistakes." Elise agrees, but her expression is still worried. "The next artifact is located in a remote region of the French Alps, but it won't be an easy trip," she warns. "The maps we have suggest that the site is protected by a system of natural barriers and possibly by ancient magic. And now that Viktor knows we're on the right track, he won't hesitate to hunt us down." Gabriel crosses his arms, his gaze determined. "So we need to be ready for anything. That means training, planning, and above all, trust in each other." Clara agrees, although a part of her still feels insecure about her ability to lead this mission. However, she knows that giving up is not an option. "We managed to beat Viktor once," she says, "and we can do it again. But we need to be united." As the trio discusses their next steps, a sudden vibration runs across the shrine floor. Clara holds the locket tightly, feeling it warm in her hand. Suddenly, he projects a holographic image into the air, a detailed map of the French Alps, with a bright dot marking the location of the next artifact. Around the point, unknown symbols rotate, suggesting that the place is, in fact, protected by powerful magic. Elise observes the projection with fascination and concern. "That confirms our suspicions," she says. "The next artifact is in a cave in the heart of the Alps, surrounded by magical barriers, and if Viktor knows that, he'll already be on the move." Clara closes her eyes, trying to calm the storm of thoughts in her mind. When she opens them again, there is a new determination in her gaze. "Then we will also be on the move," she declares. "We will prepare and leave as soon as possible." This was just the first stage of the incredible journey of Clara, Gabriel, and Elise. The battle for the Harmonia Triangle is just beginning, and the future promises even greater challenges. Don't miss out on the surprises and twists that await in the upcoming season. In the meantime, how about leaving your like and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss anything that's coming? And we want to know your opinion. What was the most memorable moment of this season? Leave it here in the comments. Your participation is essential for us to continue bringing incredible stories like this. See you soon in the second season. Until then, stay tuned and keep believing in the magic of good stories.